We are interviewing a mayoral candidate for the city of Carbondale today.
Stephen Haynes, glad to be here. Thank you, Gary, for that. Appreciate the Southern's interest in our candidates racing and ourselves in being able to be here today. Of course, again, my name is Stephen Haynes. I'm one of the candidates for mayor. Currently, I'm a Carbondale City Council person, been there for 8 years, going to be 8 years at the end of this term. Decided to make this run after Mayor Cole made his announcement that he didn't want to run again for mayor. And based upon several reasons, most of them being that I've always been involved one way or another in politics in the city of Carbondale since being born and raised here. I take that as a positive advantage of being a candidate.
Well, I sure do want to thank you for being here today, but let's introduce the other members of the panel that are here. And
I'll hit myself.
Sure, Bob Williams, publisher of the Southern Illinois.
Mark Fenton, managing editor.
Stephen Rickerell, reporter.
All right, back to you, Mr. Haynes. Tell us more about your vision for Carbondale under your leadership and why you'd be the best choice.
Well, I believe that my candidacy for Carbondale is based upon a couple of simple factors. I want to do some increased improvement of our housing stock that we have here in town and try and equalize that rate of 70-30 for homeowner-occupied facilities. Looking at that as one particular issue, we have that disparity in going on there, but we also have to look at what type of housing we want to put in the city of Carbondale. I believe a mixture of anything from the 30 to 50,000 range, the 50 to 80,000 range and higher is where we want to be at. So that way you give opportunities for individuals on the lower income scale to get an opportunity to purchase a home, as well as those that are in the higher end. That's one thing that I've always truly believed in. I believe that you can foster economic development from doing things of that nature and continue to do things of that nature. We've had some good programs out there with the city. I think that we need to continue to implement those and keep those going forward so that we can make housing stock and housing development one of our economic engines for promotion. I also want to look at the fact that everyone always wants to talk about, doing something for downtown Carbondale. I don't know if you gentlemen had an opportunity or if anybody out there has had an opportunity to look at my website, Haynes2011.com. We have some things on there. One of those things is that we want to promote downtown Carbondale with a similar way that we did on Main Street area with the TIF district, and to bring that forward for the citizens of Carbondale to try and promote that. Being that monies invested in that will come from property tax related issues and concerns in there, and to try and promote that. And hopefully we would develop new businesses from there and continue businesses, and we would also give people an opportunity to take it to the next level. And that is that once they would establish a business downtown, we give them the tools to set up a possible place to build a house, or to build a duplex or a condo, whatever scope that we want to call that, so that you would have people living above the businesses that they own. And I see that as kind of a 2- and 3-pronged development. Once you have that investment in the community of a business, you have a good area there. You have people walking back and forth in that area. Once you have an opportunity for people who may live in the up above the facility that they own and operate, you'll have homeowner occupancy, and you'll have pride in development of that. And you'll have people who want to say that they want to come outside after work and they want to talk and walk and be in the neighborhood and be with their friends. So you have the potential development of a neighborhood from that. Again, promotion of economic development, public safety, all those type of things that kind of fall in that scope of what we want to do as citizens and things that the city should be working toward. One of the other things is that on my website is that we're promoting is the fact that, and no other candidate has put that out there, good, bad, or indifferently, is that we believe in the community service programs that are here for the city of Carbondale. The city of Carbondale as a whole has committed to providing some monies and not full budgetary monies, but monies for community service programs, from the Women's Center to the I Can Read program and other things of that nature. And I think that we still need to do that, because in the end, you can spend a little bit now, and on the spectrum of things, the percentages wise will tell you that you spend a little bit now, or you spend a whole lot later, through either public safety, through the police department, through the jail systems, and things of that nature. I truly believe that we make an investment, and I call it an investment, in our youth and in our young people and in people in the community as a whole, then we can alleviate some of those problems of, crime and individual things of that nature.
Let me ask you a little bit about housing stock that you've touched on, and you've indicated an interest in new housing, better housing for all income
It's not
brackets.
just an interest. I think if you look at my record of being on the council, whenever we've had opportunities for discussion, and I don't mean to totally interrupt you, Mr. Metro, but I think if you look at my record on the council, I've always been a strong supporter of any grants and proposals and trying to get that information out to our residents.
And as mayor, if elected, you would pursue new and better housing for all income brackets, which is what
Absolutely.
you said. How do you get the space for that, and what do you do with the dilapidated housing that's in Carbondale? It's not all in any particular area, but if you drive through town and you keep your eyes open, you'll see dozens of properties that look like they really should be condemned and demolished. And what should be done?
Well, part of that process is improving the housing stock and getting that going on, and I think that we as a city need to, and one of the things that we're doing now is looking at some of our zoning regulations and rules and making adjustments and things with that. And I think that will help out a lot. I also think that once you give people opportunities to invest and reinvest in the communities that they live in or want to live in, you'll see that those dilapidated and torn down or potentially torn down places can be taken care of. It's going to take an investment of the city and of the community as a whole to do those things together. It's not something that we can just, foster on our own. But I do think it's something that we need to be spearheading in the factor that we have several empty lots, not tremendous sized lots, but empty lots that can support single family houses in areas of the city. I look in particular in one area that I live in, which is the northeast side of Carbondale, and going back to the 1970s and the early 80s during the HUD program and other things of that nature, there was a lot of houses that got torn down based upon funding from the federal government, and that we didn't continue that process. Well, now we have an opportunity to do that, I think, with some of the things that we can foster as a community, and trying to work with investors and work with individuals that may come from within the community or without, and try and get them to rent to own, get them to take that leap of faith to do those type of things and move us forward as a community.
I think the northeast neighborhood is a good example of where some things are happening. There's a couple of really nice homes being built close to the north side of downtown, not terribly distant from Long Branch. I can't think of the name of the street, but it's
It's off of Oak Street.
Yeah, and that looks really nice. I mean, how have you played a role in that?
Well, we fostered that relationship at the city level. We voted for it. We brought it forward when it was proposed. We've supported it as a continuation of what we've always tried to believe in. And when I say we, when I as a candidate and I as a member of the council have always tried to believe in is good housing stock for the entire community. And noticing that these individuals that are making these houses happen now are ones that are going to be rent to own. They're going to be developed with that process, and I think that that's a great opportunity for people to get into a housing structure. A lot of people that are on the lower income level will take the advantage of either using a double wide or a single wide, and nothing wrong with that. That's getting people in the community too. I understand that, but I also think that if you can make a permanent structured facility, which a house is to me, that's my vision.
These are nice. They're brick.
Yes.
They look good.
Yes, and I think if you can have that going on in your community, you can have people that will live in there, people that will make a commitment to keep it up, people that will bring their neighbors along. Sometimes we just need to be, I hate to say shamed into doing the right thing, but sometimes if our neighbor has an excellent house and has their property kept up and done things right, then sometimes we want to do the same because we don't want our house to look bad there. And that relates back to getting involved with our community, having block parties, having opportunities for everybody to sit down with each other, sitting out on the porch, talking to each other over a cup of coffee or whatever it may be, that process.
We probably want to move on from housing here, and there's a couple of areas that Bob and Mark and I all want to go into. We'll talk, I'll let others ask questions, but the two areas we want to talk about in particular are crime, what can be done about it, and city finances. How are you going to get things under control?
Well, I'll use the first one, the last one first. I think our city finances everybody always wants to claim we're in dire straits. Excuse me, we're not in the best of times, but the city is strong in its relationship to its budget. It has taken through city staff and through the development of a proper budget and the proper things going on there, has done what we needed to do. Now that's not to say that we are totally good on revenue sources, because as you may well know, we had to re-implement the property tax portion of the city's ways to help fund our pension funds for our police and fire departments. A vote that I had to personally make too. So, you know, and I say that, and I'm kind of getting a little bit off what you asked, Gary, but I'll come back to it if you give me a second.
No, you're doing fine.
Is that when we talk about implementation of property taxes and the sales tax and things of that nature, sitting at the council table, it's a hard thing to do. Because, you know, and I always relate this in this scenario, I have to vote for that, but I also have to pay that. So I have to take it into that account too. Getting back to that, we did have to implement, we were one of the options of either cutting staff again, or, you know, making some hard decisions on re-implementation of the property tax for the pension fund situation was to be done, and I voted for re-implementation of the property tax solely based upon the factor that we would use that to pay for the pension funds and the unfunded portion of the state. And reason being is that we have an excellent police and fire department, and we need to maintain the level that is appropriate for the city of Carbondale, and that's staffing levels, equipment levels, and training levels. And to do that, you've got to have qualified individuals. You've got to be able to pay those qualified individuals. You've got to be able to give them the support that they think they're going to get at the end of the day, which is their pension and their funding in that respect.
Now, Steve, following up on that, you know, you did make the vote for the housing. Why did you do that one versus the sales tax? You had an option.
Yes, we did. At the time that we did that, all those factors were laid out there, and I felt that at that time, property tax was more of a stable situation. We would see that more quickly. It wouldn't be, there's a lag time from the time that the state releases your sales tax fundings for you, and you project out what you're going to get. Property tax is more of a steady stream. It's more reliable to that degree, and this was the message that was given to us from the city manager. Looking at those comments and those concerns and everything in that respect, I felt it was quicker, it would be more stable and more steady, and would keep us going where we needed to go.
Now, the other question that a lot of people are talking about is, if you take a look at the business climate, and it seems like the regulations and some of the things in Carbondale are a lot more restrictive here in Carbondale than they are with some of the businesses or the land development outside of this area. Now, a number of candidates are talking about how do we make Carbondale more business friendly. Now, as mayor, what are some of your plans on, do you feel that it's important to accomplish that, and if so, what would you do?
Yes, I do feel it's important to accomplish that, but I also think that you have to look back and to what we've currently got going on. We've got a new business on the east side of town with TJ Maxx's and the party shop and things of that nature, who have made positive comments to both the city staff and through us that, you know, we had a great working relationship with the city and that developed there. We have a new Walgreens on the west side of town, again, who made great comments that had a great working relationship with the city, that fostered positive business relationships. I think it's all in the perception. Some of that has to do with the perception of what people get going on out there, and some of that has to do with reality. We have to also realize is that business increased for the city. We use Marion as a prime example because of some other outside things, i.e. an interstate right there next to you. You know, let's be honest, we're not going to get a brand new interstate to drop right in the middle of Carbondale. We're not going to get a 500-person plant to come right here. We would love to have that, but to a certain degree. But also for infrastructure purposes, I think we're kind of where we need to be at. We need to develop and continue to develop the businesses that we have here. We need to work with those individuals that are working each and every day through the Chamber of Commerce and through other entities to promote themselves as strong businesses in the Carbondale area. And I think that we need to give them every opportunity that we have at the city to do what they need to do.